The political landscape in Canada has changed forever. The Conservative Party of Canada is now bold, and I might even add a little bit aggressive. Not in a bad way, but they're what's called base. There's woke, the Karens that go, I want to speak to the manager. And then the opposite of that is base. And that's where Pierre Poilievre lies. He is nailing all of the right things. He's saying all the right things. He's putting reporters in their place. He's shitting on Justin Trudeau. He's shitting on the Liberals, and he's just doing a phenomenal job. And we're going to take a look at him destroying reporters, standing up against the whole gender ideology thing, and just the Liberals having insane meltdowns. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I want to encourage everyone to smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't yet already. It does really help grow the channel. And if you'd like a matching sticker like the one I have here on my microphone, you can find the link down in the description or the pinned comment below. There is a 20% off sticker bundle. You have Klaus Schwab penetrating Trudeau, Freeland on a broom, Justin Trudeau on a milk carton. I did not see that coming, and speech you hate does not equal hate speech. The link for those is down in the description, as well as you can buy them individually if you'd like. And there's a whole other bunch of merch like my hat, shirts, hoodies, whatever you want down in the description or the pinned comment below. Without further ado, let's take a look at Pierre Poilievre. He just absolutely destroys a reporter in a very heated exchange. Here we go.
This free trade deal.
The carbon tax was inserted by Justin Trudeau, not by my supporters. Why did he do that? No, but I'm just curious. Can you explain to me why there was a carbon tax in the agreement?
No, but the question is why.
No, I asked you a question. You keep asking
We ask the questions. We're the journalists. We're democracy. We ask the questions.
I have the freedom to ask questions if I want to, and I've just answered. I've been answering your questions all week.
Here's another one.
So no.
The government's introducing
why would
an
they do a
investment
carbon
tax
tax?
credit.
You're not changing the subject. I know you want to change the subject.
No, I want to ask
because
a
you don't want to talk
question.
about Trudeau's carbon tax.
I want to ask a question because
No.
in a democracy, we ask the questions and you answer.
And I decide the answer I give. And
In a democracy, anyone can answer any questions that they want, and he's not forced to answer any questions, and he has every single fucking right to regurgitate his own questions to the reporters should he want to. So that own reporter has to eat his words on that big fat L. This is awesome for Pierre.
The
Yes, you
answer,
do.
and the answer is this: we will axe the tax, and Trudeau can try to divide Canadians by putting a carbon tax in a free trade agreement that we already had for years. It won't change a thing.
It's misleading.
Because I will axe the tax, and I will axe the tax with delight and with passion and with incredible speed. So when I'm Prime Minister, you will be shocked at the speed with which I will axe the tax. And the Canadian people will be able to look up at the gas stations and see the prices coming down. And Trudeau can try to distract from his hated carbon tax by putting it in a free trade amendment to a pre-existing agreement. It won't stop me because I will axe the tax, I will axe the tax, and I will axe the tax. Thank you.
There you go, man. And then he walks out. And the Liberals are trying to paint him as MAGA politics. And you know what? If Pierre's motto, if it somehow were make Canada great again, hell yeah, sign me up. Give me those stickers. Give me those hats. Give me that slogan, because I will run with that to the bank. I absolutely want Canada to be made great again. We want gas prices to be affordable. You want to be able to take your family out to camping trips. Go to the lake. Go to the ski hill. You want to be able to afford ski tickets. You can't afford shit right now in Canada. Leisure activities is so instrumentally just unrealistically expensive right now that everybody is just shelled up at home. And sometimes you save up a little bit of money. You can go bowling, you go to the movies, you can pay for Disney Plus, even though Chrystia Freeland really suggested that the only way to tackle inflation is by canceling Disney Plus. Seems like the only way to make things better in Canada, or the first step to making things better in Canada, is by cutting taxes, unnecessary taxes like the carbon tax. So good job, Pierre Poilievre. Now let's take a look at what CTV and the woke Liberals have to say about about Trudeau and Trump. Former diplomats urge Prime Minister Trudeau not to anger Trump. This is very bizarre. You're going to want to stick around for the full video, folks, because after this, we're going to take a look at what Pierre Poilievre recently said about gender ideology. But let's first take a look at this clip.
See you this morning.
Good to be with you, Marcia.
David McNaughton, ambassador to Washington during the Trump era, and Louise Blais, the former ambassador to the UN, going public with their comments about Trudeau, talking about Trump, fearing it could lead to retribution if he becomes president again. What do you make of this?
Well, let's start with the top line, which is it's quite surprising to see former top-level diplomats giving advice to the prime minister. It's, they're not elected officials, they're not adversaries, they're not on his team, and yet they're weighing in on these big issues. They're basing themselves, obviously, on their deep experience in international affairs and saying, be careful, especially McNaughton, who's, always had the ear of Trudeau, and he was quite cordial in his approach, but quite direct, saying, stop using Trump's name as a swear word against your political opponent, Pierre Poilievre. Well, I think that was to underestimate the willfulness of Justin Trudeau, because as we saw yesterday at question period, he went straight at Poilievre, as Poilievre was saying, oh, things used to be better and things were better before you were here. And Trudeau just stand up and delivered a killer line to Poilievre. So what he's saying is, let's make Canada great again. Just an absolute take on Trump's key line of MAGA, make America great again. So this is the Trudeau that I got to know quite personally during our election campaign. He listens to the advice of those closest to him, but he doesn't back down when he thinks that there's an issue that has to be talked about. And this is what we're seeing here. Is there going to be a price to pay for it if indeed Trump does come in? Probably. But I don't see how Trump...
But it's going to cost him the election. I mean, Trudeau is sitting at 1% likelihood of winning. And this is the thing that liberals aren't realizing is you can try and throw shit at the wall. It's just not going to stick. You can't take down Pierre Poilievre now, calling it MAGA politics, saying make Canada great again. And, oh, look, we got a Canadian version of Trump. Yeah. So what? That's awesome. I'm not saying that I'm 100% pro everything Trump does. I don't know everything that Trump does, but he is pro-American, and Pierre needs to be pro-Canadian. And Trudeau is not. Trudeau is pro every other fucking country in the world except Canada. He actually doesn't care about Canada, which is why he's gouging us to death with taxes. So yeah, this is absolutely great to have someone like Pierre step into the ring, and they can try to label him like Trump as if that's a bad thing. It's just not going to work. People just don't care about that.
Trump's view of Trudeau could have gotten much worse. We all remember, I'm sure you do, Marcia, when the G7 meeting was held in Quebec and Mr. Trump was back on Air Force One ready to leave, and Mr. Trudeau took a shot at him in front of the microphones, and Trump, unfortunately, was not off the ground and had watched it and delivered a blistering attack on Trudeau. So their personal relationship is not great, but I think that Trudeau is simply making the following bet, that the more he can tie Pierre Poilievre to the MAGAs, to the Trumps, to that whole movement in the United States, and there's lots of possibilities to do that, the more Canadians are going to give second thoughts to ever voting for Pierre Poilievre. I think that that's his big bet.
But what about during this time of very real concerns about election interference, the Prime Minister could be seen as someone who is trying to interfere with the U.S. election process, Tom?
Well, I think that we'd be getting a bit ahead of ourselves if we thought that anything that we say up here is actually going to interfere in a U.S. election, because it's very overt.
Never mind interfering with U.S. election. Trudeau and the NDP, the Liberals and the NDP teamed up to change voting in Canada. So they're trying to interfere with Canadian elections. Never mind American elections. It's so ridiculous. And now we're going to take a look at this amazing clip that just recently happened. Let them make adult decisions when they become adults. Pierre finally answers his take on gender ideology.
Do you support age restrictions for puberty blockers and hormone therapies for trans kids?
I think that Justin Trudeau is trying to divide and distract Canadians by spreading disinformation about the decisions that premiers and parents are making.
What do you think? What do you think? I want to know your position. What's your own party policy? It's your own party policy. At party convention.
I think we should protect the rights of parents to make their own decisions.
What does it mean?
With regards to their children. And I believe that adults should have the freedom to make any decision they want about their bodies.
But minors.
How about
surgeries and medical interventions for minors, as your own party members suggested?
Medical interventions like what?
That is the language that your party
What medical
used.
Interventions?
Well, you would have to ask your party members.
What medical interventions?
Such as puberty blockers and hormone.
For minors?
Yeah. Yes.
Irreversible? You're talking about irreversible?
I would like to understand your position.
No, I want to be clear. I just want to be clear.
For minors.
Puberty blockers for minors?
Do you agree with that?
Do you agree with that?
I think that we should protect children
What
and their
does that
ability
mean?
to make adult decisions when they're adults.
So you
And that
think
will protect-
only adults should make, oh, you said yes?
Now, here's what really pisses me off. These people are so freaking delusional, man. You do not hear any reporters saying, are you kidding me? You don't think a 12-year-old should vote? You don't think a 12-year-old should drive a 1-ton truck? Come on. How dare you? You don't think a 10-year-old should get tattoos? Huh? Why aren't you letting 10-year-olds get tattoos? That's ageism. That's not fair. That's discrimination. You don't let a 12-year-old drink a 6-pack of beer at night? How dare you? Come on, man. Come on. Let's be real about this stuff. Let's be real.
Just to be clear, you said yes, only adults should take puberty blockers?
I think we should protect children, let them make adult decisions when they become adults.
So that
you do support age
so that means
restrictions?
you are against puberty blockers for kids under the age of 18. Is that
Yes.
unclear? Okay. What about, can I ask you about, in Alberta?
By the way, I just want to make another comment on this. Justin Trudeau is again puffing out his chest, trying to divide Canadians and attack parents who are trying to protect their kids. He will, in the end, back down on this, just like he had to back down on his firearms policy,
Yes.
just like he had to back down on bringing in medical assistance and dying for people suffering from mental illness.
Yeah.
Just like he's backing down again and again and again, he will back down on this because he is not interested in protecting kids. He's interested in using this as a divisive wedge to distract from doubling housing costs and quadrupling carbon taxes on our people.
But it's for you, so you're against puberty blockers for kids under the age
Yes.
of 18.
Mr.
Hey, what about opting
Yes,
in?
I am.
What about parents in Alberta having to opt in for sex ed? Where do you stand
every
on that?
lesson.
No, that's a decision for the province.
No, but what do you
That's ridiculous that these people are so hyper focused on letting kids just do whatever they want. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Why are reporters so focused on what other people are doing, like with children's rights? It's bizarre, man. Kids can't buy alcohol, they can't buy tobacco, they can't vote, they can't drink, they can't drive, they can't do anything. So why are we letting them do these things? It's literally to protect them. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It's so bizarre. But anyways, we have one last clip here to play. You have a CTV Power Play episode where they're talking about this exact issue. Let's see what these just insane liberals have to say about this matter.
Protect children.
You are against.
She consider inviting Premier Smith to Ottawa more often, because every time she comes, it seems to put Mr. Poilievre in a little bit of a tough position, and you can kind of see him squirming there in the press conference. Look, I mean, this is an issue that, for some reason, Mr. Poilievre decided that he wanted to comment on, and continuing to talk about it, continuing the story, and providing the Prime Minister and the government with sort of more ammo, so to speak. And the thing is, he knows this is problematic. I mean, he told his own caucus that they shouldn't go out and say anything about it, knowing that they might lead to members of his caucus saying things and stupid things, if I might say, about it. And then he goes out and is pushed into having to comment it about himself. What that then allows for is, one, it takes him off a core message about the economy, bread and butter issues that have been working super well for him. Every time he seems to talk about something else other than the economy, whether it's Ukraine, whether it's gender identity politics, it doesn't really go well for him. And I don't understand quite why.
That's not true at all. That's not true at all. The Conservatives have openly supported funding more or giving more help to Ukraine than the Liberals. And whether you think that that's good or not, that's just a fact. They've done that. So any weaponization that the Liberals try to have over that is just factually incorrect. And the gender identity thing, look, I have a kid. I have a second one on the way. My wife is pregnant again. And I don't want my kids being brainwashed by the curriculum, by the system, that they can just change their gender as minors. As a consenting adult, do whatever. And I say this with the utmost amount of respect while giving the middle finger to anybody. Do whatever the fuck you want to do with your body. Nobody cares what an 18-year-old or above does with their own body, as long as it's not hurting other people or putting other people in harm's way. But when you're below the age of consent, the age of voting, the age of buying tobacco, driving, drinking, all of those things, you can't really be trusted to make these massive decisions. It's the exact reason why you can't let a 10-year-old get a tattoo, but you can give a 10-year-old puberty blockers. I don't know, man. Am I going crazy, or are these liberals going crazy like this little cuck here with his AirPods in? It just doesn't make any sense.
The final thing that it does is it provides the Prime Minister with more proof that you can link, Premier Smith, Pierre Poilievre, Tucker Carlson, MAGA conservatives, and it no longer becomes a stretch. It becomes actually a very simple equation for people to understand. And that is not something that I think most Canadians want to see. It's not the kind of politics they want to see in Canada. And I think what it does is it gives the Prime Minister something to actually start fighting with, which I think the government hasn't had in a very long time.
Gary, do you think that's the case?
Well, I think it is a very difficult political policy to work on. Let me just go back to my time as Minister of Health. We did about 30 gender reassignment surgeries a year, so it wasn't very frequent, and we didn't do any as it related to children. This policy that the Premier's put out is saying we don't want to have gender reassignment surgeries for those 17 and under. I think that in talking to 3 individuals that I know earlier today, they are 3 people that have gone through gender reassignment, but they did so as adults. And they would say that they weren't ready to make that kind of decision until they were of the age of majority. And even when they do go through the gender reassignment surgery, the idea that all your problems are solved is it's not true. There are still challenges that they face, but they are happier having made the decisions that they made. I think what Premier Smith is
go ahead, man, and do whatever you want to do to your body. Get tattoos, take blockers, take a surgery, turn your genitals inside out. Whatever the hell that is you want to do. Nobody cares. Nobody inherently has an issue with what you do to your body when you are an adult. But as a child, as a minor, of course, people have an issue with that, especially when it comes to their own children. I care about my kids. I don't want my kids to be influenced by this woke plague. And I'm sure that you don't want your kids or grandkids or future children or whatever, or brother, sister, or whatever it is, to be influenced by this woke plague either, which is why we have to talk about this. And it's awesome that Pierre Poilievre finally has made a public statement saying he doesn't agree with this shit happening to minors. That's where we're going to end today's video, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Any questions, comments, or concerns about any of the topics that were covered. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't yet already, and as well as a gentle reminder that if you want a matching sticker of Trudeau being penetrated by Klaus Schwab, which is a literal thing that he has said himself, the link for that is down in the description or the pinned comment below. See you in the next one. Bye for now.